Hold on. We're looking at the early morning hours of October 29th, 2025, right around 6 o'clock. Thick fog blankets the river valley, the air heavy with moisture pushing 90%. 6 HIMARS M142 platforms coordinate their launch sequence alongside for enhanced MLRS units. A total of 18 ATACMS-guided missile pods streak toward their destination, each one packed with approximately 600 pounds of high-grade PBXN, 110 explosive compound, accelerating to roughly 300 miles per hour as they close in. Their objective? The Belgrade Dam Control Complex, targeting the critical valve mechanisms and sluice gate infrastructure. From the moment of launch, these guided missiles need about 47 seconds to reach their mark. 3 direct hits slam down mere yards from the primary control structure. The impact shatters concrete walls, twists steel reinforcements with a metallic screech, and instantly destroys the control mechanisms. Water starts trickling over the apron, quickly becoming a stream, then a torrent. In just 1 minute, water levels in the channel rise to 1.6 feet. The infantry trenches and defensive positions flood rapidly. Supply crates get waterlogged. Communications equipment fails from electrical shorts. Radio communications collapse into white noise. This isn't just about destroying equipment. The strike fundamentally alters the battlefield terrain, weaponizing the dam's water systems and compelling enemy forces in the defensive perimeter to abandon their positions as floodwaters rise and leave them dangerously exposed. The follow-up assault launches in under 4 minutes from the initial strike. Floodwaters transform the Belgrade Basin into a complex network of interconnected shallow streams, creating the perfect conditions for what comes next. A swarm of 200 first-person view drones takes off from concealed launch sites positioned 10 miles west of the waterway, each one armed with a 4.4-pound PG-7VL warhead. Higher up, 60 heavier loitering munitions weighing around 50 pounds apiece ascend to 800 feet, serving dual roles as surveillance platforms and diversionary targets. Meanwhile, at water level, 10 robotic boats loaded with fragmentation explosives speed downstream at 28 miles per hour, riding the surge of released water. This coordinated assault isn't about causing indiscriminate damage. It's a carefully orchestrated plan to box in, disorient, and force Russian troops out of cover. Across the river, Russian units respond immediately to the threat. Their electronic countermeasure teams power up a Krasuka 4 jamming platform, a vehicle-mounted device that floods the 3 to 12 GHz spectrum with 500 kilowatts of disruptive energy. Almost instantly, 25 Ukrainian operators watch their drone feeds cut to static and visual snow. Under normal circumstances, this electronic blackout would neutralize the entire drone formation, but these systems were programmed with contingencies. Every FPV drone automatically transitions to self-directed flight mode, relying on optical flow detection, gyroscopic navigation, and close-range LiDAR technology. Flying at altitudes between 20 and 30 feet, they track atmospheric pressure shifts and moisture patterns to navigate along the newly formed flood channels generated by the dam breach. Simultaneously, 35 miles distant, a NEBO-M long-range surveillance radar finishes scanning the operational area. The system's high-powered emissions pick up 2 distinct groupings. One cluster shows rapidly departing rocket signatures from the HIMARS battery. The other registers as a scattered collection of slow, low-altitude contacts hovering around 50 feet elevation. The Buk M1 Air Defense Network's targeting computer immediately flags this second group as the primary threat. Engagement authorization comes without hesitation. A pair of 9M38 interceptors roar skyward, hitting nearly 3 times the speed of sound. Within moments, they arrive at the target zone and explode, releasing deadly fragmentation patterns. 10 contacts disappear from the radar scope. The missile battery operators call it a successful interception, completely unaware they've just eliminated bait. 10 intentionally sluggish FPV drones programmed to mimic a significant aerial threat. As the Buk operators congratulate themselves, the genuine strike package continues its approach just 6 feet over the waterlogged terrain, going completely unnoticed. The fog is incredibly thick at 90% density. Visual range plummets to under 100 feet. The saturated ground layer, leaves, and standing water about 6 inches deep, absorbs radar waves effectively. The The NEBO-M system's clutter rejection programming, designed to ignore ground interference, inadvertently removes the actual threat signals from its display. At the ground combat level, the Russian radar coverage is effectively useless. Pandemonium ensues. Infantry units move their BMP-3 armored transports toward elevated terrain, their headlights cutting bright beams through the mist while simultaneously broadcasting their exact positions. Machine gun fire erupts randomly into the fog bank, tracer rounds vanishing into nothingness with a hiss. The whir of drone rotors and splashing water echo from all directions, yet nothing can be seen. One BMP crew unleashes 30mm cannon rounds at a phantom contact, achieving nothing but creating swirling clouds of disturbed fog. In just 60 seconds, floodwaters climb to 2 feet, forcing Russian personnel to relocate toward higher terrain 10 miles to the south. Exactly the kill zone Ukrainian planners had identified. Russian commanders respond by positioning 2 Panzer S-1 close-range aerial defense platforms, each loaded with 12 57E6E interceptor missiles plus dual 30mm autocannons. These systems set up protective coverage around the command bunker and the communications relay installation. Their radar detection capability is strong, but the rising water creates interference patterns and phantom contacts. When the initial drone wave comes within striking distance, a Panzer operator spots a rapid-moving contact at 100 yards out and fires. The interceptor rockets skyward at 2,300 miles per hour, its heat-seeking guidance system tracking thermal emissions. The targeted drone executes an aggressive evasive maneuver while broadcasting position data to the rest of the formation. The missile detonates uselessly in open air. Immediately after, 20 additional drones surge through the opening left by the wasted interceptor. Each defensive shot creates an opportunity. Each opportunity lets 3 additional drones penetrate deeper. The Russian gun crews are battling mathematical reality, overwhelming numbers, and the relentless clock. Their cannons cycle through ammunition at 600 rounds every 60 seconds. Smoke accumulates in dense layers. Already, poor visibility deteriorates even more. Searchlights transform the heavy fog into an impenetrable white barrier. The defenders have been reduced to firing blindly at their own illuminated vapor clouds. Ukraine's strategic bet is paying off. The dam breach wasn't the primary weapon, the unleashed water is. Every movement by the defense forces, every muzzle flash, pinpoints their exact locations for the incoming autonomous drone swarm. What would you do if you were advising Ukraine in this situation? Drop a comment with 6 if you think Ukraine needs to hold every square meter of territory using unconventional tactics and cutting-edge tech. Or comment 8 if you believe Ukraine should pursue a negotiated conditional ceasefire to protect civilian lives, preserve critical infrastructure, and create diplomatic opportunities. The concluding stage kicks off the moment the flooding and initial drone wave have accomplished their objectives. In just 20 minutes, the entire combat zone has been transformed, allowing the attacking forces to capitalize on every vulnerability. At 2:35 in the morning, the primary strike element hits the fortified command facility. The attack formation includes 150 fast-moving FPV drones built for direct collision strikes, 50 stealth micro-drones targeting ventilation shafts and sensor arrays, 30 large loitering weapons equipped with 50-pound explosive payloads for bringing down structures, and 12 dual-stage shaped charge systems aimed at entry points. The defense responds with multiple integrated layers. 2 Panzer S-1 close-in weapon systems, each armed with a dozen missiles and paired 30mm guns, a single Buk M1 unit handling medium-range threats with 9 M38 interceptors, and an S-350 system providing broader coverage from a distance. The NEBO-M distant radar finishes its area scan and feeds target data to the weapon's networks, but battlefield conditions now favor the attackers. Interference from the flowing water and the soaked forest floor of oak and birch obscures low-altitude readings and generates phantom approach routes. The attack begins with a diversionary feint. 40 sacrificial drones, moving more slowly at higher altitudes, bait the Panzer teams into launching. 2 9M38 interceptors surge to almost Mach 3 speeds, burst into shrapnel clouds, and the defense crews record 24 confirmed kills as operators cheer their apparent success. but the actual strike force is hugging the ground interference. The opening salvo of 30 FPV drones streaks in at nearly 120 miles per hour, flying at altitudes ranging from 2 to 6 feet over the floodwaters. They come in an unbroken wave. The Panzer turrets rotate rapidly, their 30mm weapons firing sustained 3-second volleys that burn through hundreds of rounds. Yet every drone they destroy creates a breach somewhere else in the defensive screen. As one gun system pivots, 2 drones slip through. The larger loitering weapons plunge from 800 feet elevation, their terminal guidance systems channeling momentum into destructive force as they slam into structural supports and ventilation equipment. The smaller infiltration drones home in on exhaust ports and air circulation ducts, positioning their warheads with surgical precision against lightweight panels and welded joints. The initial shaped charge tears open a 12-inch steel vent cover. A second charge breaks apart the mounting hardware. As the internal detonation sequence triggers, the focused explosive jet, the Monroe effect, burns through reinforced composite materials and steel plating, carving a pathway of superheated metal and plasma straight through defensive barriers. The ensuing fires inside generate towering flames that shoot up 85 feet high, clearly visible from 2 miles away. The explosive shockwave radiates in all directions. Seismic monitoring stations positioned 300 meters from the facility detect ground tremors measuring 2.3 on the local scale. The concussive force cracks surrounding concrete structures, topples a communications tower, and tears a hardened security door completely from its frame. Once that barrier is eliminated, self-navigating attack drones pour into the facility, seeking out vital targets. The server arrays housing command systems, the central air circulation infrastructure, and the main weapons storage depot. Within 90 seconds, a cascading series of explosions erupts. Intense heat from the first blasts ignites unshielded explosive materials and ammunition stockpiles. The follow-on explosions grow exponentially larger, hotter, and more devastating. Analysis conducted afterward shows fireball temperatures peaking above 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit at the core, while the smoke plume registers 600 degrees at its periphery. The ammunition detonations multiply the destructive force. Deadly shrapnel scatters everywhere as the building's foundation buckles and shifts. In mere minutes, the explosions excavate a crater and establish a continuously burning inferno. The convergence of hydraulic pressure from the destroyed dam valves and the internal explosive forces transforms the entire area into an impassable flooded wasteland of fire and debris. The tactical impact is absolute. The Brigade Command Center, serving as the central hub for 4 combat battalions, experiences complete communications breakdown, loses all operational situational mapping, and can no longer execute synchronized maneuvers. Military vehicles assembled along pre-planned evacuation corridors become stranded on waterlogged terrain. Heavy track platforms like the T-90 main battle tank lose operational mobility due to fuel depletion and mechanical failures. The attacking force doesn't try to eliminate every armored asset. Instead, they focus on crippling leadership networks, cutting off logistical lifelines, and generating strategic consequences by forcing the adversary to decide between safeguarding rear area assets or maintaining frontline combat power. The results manifest instantly. Leadership dysfunction, supply chain disintegration, and a regional tactical breakdown that enables subsequent interdiction missions. Initial damage assessments within the first few hours reveal the elimination or incapacitation of command infrastructure valued in the tens of millions, the expenditure of numerous air defense interceptors, and the neutralization of thousands of artillery projectiles through flooding and conflagration. The mission concludes not through a singular dramatic blow, but through the systematic breakdown of networks, detection systems, and logistics, a progressive defeat achieved through coordinated munitions deployment, autonomous swarm operations, electronic disruption, and precision kinetic impacts. By 10:30 in the morning, what remains is no longer an active combat zone, but a submerged industrial cemetery. The Belgrade Dam region has been converted into a pool of motionless dark water, scattered with wreckage and isolated patches of blazing petroleum products. Ambient temperature surrounding the impact area climbs to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The primary rail corridor that previously sustained the 4th Guards Tank Division now lies buried under 3 feet of water, extending nearly a mile. Overhead imagery verifies the destruction of 4 command platforms, 2 Panzer S-1 systems, and multiple BMP, 3 infantry fighting vehicles mired in saturated soil. Approximately 6,000 Russian personnel remain cut off from replenishment. Fuel reserves are depleted within half a day, leaving armored equipment completely stationary. 45-ton tanks sit as motionless hulks on drenched earth. Ukrainian surveillance drones detect zero organized activity or retaliatory operations. At 6 o'clock in the evening, a follow-up HIMARS barrage targets Russian engineering units working to repair the damaged floodgates, guaranteeing continued inundation. The Kremlin issues a brief communique attributing the incident to mechanical malfunction, yet ground-based seismic detection equipment and orbital thermal imaging reveal the truth, a calculated tactical elimination. 3 days later, the region remains partially submerged. Logistics columns are redirected 100 miles to the north, leaving forward positions vulnerable. Every defensive platform pulled back to secure rear installations opens another gap in the protective air coverage over combat zones. The mathematics are merciless. $3 million worth of Ukrainian ordnance generates more than $100 million in immediate destruction, compels an entire division to evacuate, and initiates a strategic withdrawal across a 30-mile front segment. The engagement demonstrates that contemporary military strikes no longer require direct engagement with personnel. They can obliterate supply networks, flood command structures, and force the adversary to battle the physical environment itself. If this analysis provided value, smash that like button and subscribe to catch our upcoming detailed combat breakdowns. You're watching The Strategic Front, where every strike tells its own story. See you on the next one.